They didn't, Candace. Things seem to be getting off to a smooth start for the virtual school year, but when the tens of thousands of students and teachers all tried to get on eventually, there were some server capacity issues that led to about a 2-hour delay.
This was the screen that many Chesterfield County students and teachers saw Tuesday morning as they attempted to log in for day one of the virtual school year.
Got a lot of anxiety over this homeschool stuff. A lot. I had it yesterday. I'm having it now, even worse.
Tiffany May says her 7th grader had no issues first thing in the morning, but had no luck with her 3rd grader shortly after.
When I got him on at 8:30, it wouldn't log on at all. It was just like roaming, like going round. So he couldn't get on at all.
Well, for those who could log on, like 9th grader Jalen Ferguson, service was slow.
Takes like 5 to 10 minutes to load after I answer a question and hit submit. I've done it before and it's been way faster.
Ferguson says she feels nervous after day one, a feeling shared by her mother, Tawana, who adds she didn't expect things to be this bad.
We would have hoped that the county would have come up with something a little better than this, but you know, it's going to take some getting used to.
Certainly not the way we wanted to begin our school year from the virtual learning perspective.
School spokesperson Sean Smith says while things appear to be going smoothly at first, when more students logged on, it led to a capacity issue on their system called Rapid Identity.
We have worked to beef up the server capacity in our hopes that we'll kind of allay the issues, certainly as we go into tomorrow, Wednesday, our second day of school.
Now, we asked the school system why didn't they test the capacity issues before today. They said they had run smaller size tests that didn't flag an issue like this, but they said there was no way to recreate 68,000 students and teachers logging on at the same time other than to have it actually happen like it did today. They said those server capacity increases will be in place for tomorrow. Working for you in Chesterfield County, Cameron Thompson, CBS 6 News.
Thank you, Cam. While some Chesterfield students were struggling to log on to class, others were still waiting for their Chromebooks. School leaders held a tech support and pickup day at Meadowbrook High this morning with a line that stretched out of the building. Near the end of the event, parents told CBS 6 that staff told people in line that if they weren't at a certain point, they couldn't get in.
I've been in line an hour and they were going to cut us off at 10 o'clock. So a bunch of us parents were like, you know, we've been in line for an hour or more. So they decided to let us in, but they were going to cut us off at 10 o'clock.
Spokesperson tells us the line cut off at as many of the Chromebook events were because the schools didn't order enough computers, so they had to cut it short.
Hanover schools started their first day of in-person learning with the exception of one school. Liberty Middle remains closed after 3 employees tested positive for coronavirus. Our Jake Burns is following up today, continues our back-to-school coverage in Hanover. Jake.
Well, Bill, Hanover schools gave families the option to do either fully in-person or fully virtual learning to start the school year. But after those positive COVID-19 cases, for Liberty Middle School families, it seems that option might not be one anymore.
These Hanover buses would normally pick up middle school kids, but instead sit empty Tuesday. 3 employees at Liberty Middle School tested positive for COVID-19, and news of the cases came hours before some students were set to return to the building. Hanover school officials say they're optimistic that virtual instruction will begin for all Liberty students on Thursday.
When we heard of the second case, we started to get a little bit nervous.
Dr. Thomas Frank leads the Chickahominy Health District. His team worked to identify and trace those exposed to the positive cases at Liberty Middle and says, though far from ideal, this serves as a real-world test of their virus surveillance system in schools.
Timing couldn't have been much worse here right the day before school opens. But you know, there's COVID-19 going around in the community, and so, you know, as people start to come back, we're going to discover cases of COVID-19 that probably wouldn't have been discovered anyway.
Still, the decision to close the school building came quick and last minute, meaning families had to pivot quickly too. Hanover is the largest local district to allow some students back into school buildings, and 61% opted to attend in person to start the year. We caught up with the state superintendent of instruction, Dr. James Lane, who asks families for patience when situations like this arise.
The community has to be prepared for flexibility. You know, COVID-19 will write the rules, and I think we have great administrators in all of our school districts, and they're going to find solutions.
COVID-19 is it can present as anything.
Dr. Frank says 2 of the 3 cases at Liberty Middle showed mild symptoms and then got tested. An example, he says, of why seeking help when you feel sick is the only move these days.
My advice to everybody in general is just have a low threshold for assuming you might have COVID-19. So if you have any symptoms at all.
Local health officials are offering testing to anyone who's been inside Liberty Middle School over the past 2 weeks. Working for you in Hanover, Jake Burns, CBS 6 News.